This is another one of those jobs where you will need to have done the past few before taking on this one, else you abort all other jobs. So the owner of the library Morzat wants our help in making a book that tells of events since the great disaster had occurred from the last game. It can sound both interesting and yet boring at the same time. Interesting because you get to hear more of Legends Past regarding the Ark. Now that gets mentioned after all this time. And boring since you have to spend a lot of time going around and talking to almost everyone that lives on this side of the continent itself. However, the most important people he wants us to talk with are Salibari, Marcia's mentor from the Spell Institute, and Harzan the monk from Amidar Temple. So let's start by making those the top priority to talk with and work our way down. First, we'll seek out Salibari. Head to the Institute to find that he's apparently gone out on an errand and they have no idea when he will be back. However, we don't exactly have the luxury of time on our side to wait, so we'll have to go to him. The wizard says he can be found off the shore of Roma Lake. Before going after him though, feel free to at least talk with everyone at the Spell Institute to gather what information you can. Once you get to the lake, you'll see Salibari in the distance. Before you can catch him, however, monsters decide to ambush you. Ugh, seriously, we don't have time for these guys. Lay the smack down on them real quick with your best attacks like Force Ring or Impulse Bomb before moving on. After the fight, we catch up with Salibari as he tells a bit about the Ark and what its purpose was for. He doesn't seem to know a lot, but it's something to go on. Next, we'll seek out Harzan of the Amidar Temple. Head there and you'll be led in to speak with Iga. He'll mention that Harzan is currently training at the Proving Grounds and will have one of his monks escort you there. Hars and the other monks in training seem to remember Alec's recent actions in capturing Tikva and wants to challenge you to a match. While Alec respectively declines, Harzen seems to insist on it if Alec wants to get an exclusive. Alright, why not? Time to rumble. Wow. They didn't even try to spread it out at all here. They're just lined up in a row waiting to be knocked down like dominoes. One or maybe two area attacks should knock out all the monks, leaving only Harzen to tangle with. His high attack power may prove problematic, that is, if you take too long to take him out. Hear what Harzen has to say to get most of what you need for the book. However, don't be so quick to leave before talking to the rest of the monks as well for more info they might have to share. At this point in time, you can probably end the job now and get an okay rating. But we don't want just okay. We want this to be a real success. So on the way back to the library, stop by Russaud again and talk to any people you haven't already that may have some knowledge to share. Coming back to Pesos, speak with a few other people around town just to be on the safe side and see if they have any wisdom to share as well. When you get back to the library, there's actually one more person you should speak with. Head upstairs and talk with the new library monitor, Yonan. He has a bit of history regarding Milmana he's willing to share with you. Just as long as he's not causing any more trouble. Tearing out them pages. I got my own, you kid. Once you feel that you have all you need, speak to Morzet again and tell him you're done. If all went according to plan, it should turn into a big success. Also, don't forget to check out the book when you have time that you yourself helped put together. Ooh, another spooky mystery to solve, gang! Head to Tikva's house in the far northeast and find two ladies that seem to be friends of Marcia's waiting for you. They claim they heard weird sounds coming from inside and that nobody had been in there since Tikva's recent activities. Well, only one way to find out for sure. Inside, the group spreads out to find any clues to go on. Lutz, being his usual klutz self, ends up knocking over a few books and almost wants to say to hell with this job before a man with a rifle comes out from behind the bookshelf ready to start shooting. Looks like we found our intruder. Or at least somewhat. It turns out he's not here to steal or anything, he just wants information regarding a weapon synthesis recipe. Well, that's a weird way of going about it considering you just busted in someone's house. Cheryl decides to help the poor guy figure out what the final ingredient is and need to make this legendary weapon. Pay attention to how the legend goes before checking all the bookshelves for any information you can gather. There should be 6 you can look into. Once you've finished reading them all, Marcia will ask if you actually have the answer to the riddle. One for all and all for one. 3 Musketeers? The actual answer to that would be Himoji, since they all look the same. As for where, deep and high should be referring to something high up. Midar Mountain Peak sounds like something that would fit the bill. As for one that shines above all, sounds like a Himoji that's a bit more advanced than others. Once you know where to head off to, you'll set off for the mountain peak. However, the rifleman insists on staying behind and waiting for you over at that weapon synthesis shop. Once at the mountain peak, you'll see a group of Himoji there with a golden-like one in the middle. He must have the final ingredient needed. For a monster that's to be a king, he sure doesn't seem to be much hassle. Nevertheless, don't hold back on him and lay waste with your attacks with card field to keep your defenses up.
ておかなきゃ。相手はあちらだけね。ライトアロー。気の毒だけど。
With the fight over, you discover that the missing ingredient was infernal powder. Take that and head back to the weapon synthesis shop. Once you're there, you'll realize that someone is missing. What happened to Wyatt? Well, long story short, the guy has apparently been dead this whole time. In fact, according to these guys here, for about a year. So, then the guy we spoke to earlier was... Wow, that's kinda creepy, and yet it's sad at the same time. He tried for so long to find the last ingredient needed, and he ends up dead trying to save someone. Lutz, being a complete dick, wants nothing more to do with when this whole thing, meanwhile, has Cheryl all emotional. Who can really blame her? I mean, one gunsmith to another, she decides the best way to end this is to find out what these three ingredients, light alloy, assault gun, infernal powder, make. Turns out that the legendary weapon is a shotgun. Oh, wow, okay then. I suppose in this day and age a shotgun would be something really rare, even though there is more than one way to make one. But that's for you to figure out. Sadly, the shotgun is not yours to keep, as it gets left behind as tribute to one great man that is Wyatt. Also, Lutz really knows how to ruin moments. He's gonna get shot in the head one of these days. Freaking moron. Sania, the famous fortune teller, wanting our help? This could be interesting. So it appears that somebody has become too reliant on her fortune telling that he can't even decide on the simplest of things to do without consulting her first. I didn't even realize there was such an addiction. Go Go figure. So he comes by wanting to know where to take her girlfriend out on a date, too. Oh my god, really? That's whack, yo. As she sees Roma Lake and the crystal ball. Now, here's the part that she doesn't tell him. He's actually fixing to run into a lot of trouble there. Now, why would Sania send them to a dangerous situation? All the more to teach him a lesson, of course. Wow, that's harsh right there. Anywho, you are to follow them and make sure they stay safe. At the lake, you'll hide out in the bushes to see what happens with those two lovebirds. Eventually, they get into a lover's quarrel about him and his fortune-telling abuse. Lutz wants to butt in, but do not, I repeat, do not, under any circumstances, interfere. Let it play out. Because if you do interfere, you will fail the job on the spot. Eventually, monsters show up and start causing trouble for the two. Move in a little, but still keep silent. Do not shout at them. I know this sounds really cold, but trust me, this is how it's supposed to play out. Eventually, the guy Jan calls out for help. Again, as harsh as it may seem, he has to make a choice for himself. He can't be relying on others like Sania, so tell him that he's on his own. He'll finally snap and take action. Once him and his girlfriend find a safe place to hide, then you can finally take out the trash here. Like I said, take out the trash and try not to get caught in a paralysis swirl. After the fight, head back to the restaurant to see Jan finally realizing the error of his ways and to stop being so dependent on Sania. That is, if you didn't interfere with him. Either way, another job done. So we have a mysterious item that can... Wait a minute. Hold up. This is what I think it is, isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, you know what? No, I'm sorry. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Try to fool me 3 times, hell no. Not doing this one. Nope. Ain't gonna happen.
But you've got to do it. It's the duty of the hunter to do so.
Nope. Nope. Not me. I got screwed enough times by these guys. Look at them. Even they don't want to go through with it.
So you're really gonna bail on these poor folks that have no one else to turn to? Man, what kind of hunter are you?
The kind that's not a freaking idiot.
Son, I am disappointed.
Okay, you know what? You know what? Fine. I'll do it. You all suck, by the way. Anyway, meet up with him at the top of a Midar mountain to hear more about this mysterious item. The group feels reluctant at first, but then again, it's a job and we have to see this through. So, let's decide to take the first leap for it, of course. Followed by Marcia, Cheryl, and Alec. Theo starts to pass up on it before Uncle Lutz decides to be a prick and pushes Theo into the area as well. Okay, everybody, are you ready for the kicker on this one? What could possibly go wrong this time? Well, now that you supposedly feel stronger with your weapons, you now suddenly can't use magic. Yep, that's right. A group of monsters show up, and now you have to deal with no magic for this fight. Ain't that grand? Since you have no magic for this fight, best to bring in your heavy attackers and leave Marcia out for this one. Also, with no healing magic, hopefully you have some healing items with you, else you might have a bit of a bad day ahead of you. Attack items would also be good to use, like bombs and such. Just keep your back covered and you should be okay. Once the fight is finished, the brother and sister deeply apologize and are really grateful for discovering the bad effects of this mysterious item, even though we've seen this scenario for the 3rd time now. But as apology, you're given a recipe to make a magic stick for weapon synthesis. I already made one. And the sister decides to give Theo her special Dryad monster card. And then Let's strikes again for making a scene. Oh God, Lutz. As if it wasn't enough for Cheryl, you embarrassed the hell out of Theo too? Oh, you are so dead, man. You are such a dead man for the stuff you do. Anyways, job done, moving onward. I just want to get this out right now. I hate this job. I hate this job. I hate this job. I hate this job. I hate this job so much. It's pissed me off so much. It took a lot of tries to get this right, and it's not my fault either. You'll see why when we get to it. Just bear with me on this, okay? So, head to the Mindor Path to meet up with a girl named Nana. And why is Spicy there? Oh, still up to his neck in love troubles, I see. Freaking weirdo. Sometimes I kind of feel sorry for the guy, but at the same time, it's like, what are you doing with your life, man? There are better approaches. Anyway, I'm rambling, moving on. Anyways, she explains to you that her loved one, Kurt, was tricked into becoming a monk and is to undergo some intense training. Now, why is that bad? Because he would not be allowed to see anyone else for a while. 10 days in this case being. So she wants us to try and get him out. I still don't see how it's completely all bad and everything, but well, it's a job. Let's go up and see what Kurt says. So apparently she wasn't telling the full story, and she has a knack for taking what's said the wrong way. He came by choice, not by force, to better himself for her. So what's wrong with that? That's a good thing, right? So is there really not a need to do anything? Did we just complete the job on the spot? Oh, wait a minute. Now he suddenly wants to see her again. Okay, fine. So now comes the main part of this job. Sneaking the guy out. And here's where I have a major issue with this job. So your task is to get him off the mountain without being seen by any of the monks. Now the way to do it is by distracting him long enough so he can sneak by. Now while it might not sound so bad at first, it's getting to doing it that might make you want to pull your hair out a bit. When blocking a monk's view, you still need to give enough space for Kurt to get by. Otherwise, he's just going to run around back and forth and risk getting spotted by another monk. I probably should have said this earlier, but please, for the love of God, save your game before taking this job, as there is a chance you will have to redo this one a time or two. You get 5 chances to get him off this mountain without being seen. Mess up too much and you fail miserably. No, really. Nana will go off on you and want you out of her sight. She almost borderline cusses you out. Oh, I'm sorry, Nana. I wouldn't have so much of a hard time if your boy toy Kurt wasn't such a fucking dumbass! His AI is complete ass, and unless you are practically holding his hand to get him to where he needs to be to escape, he will run in the complete opposite direction, risking to getting spotted by one of the monks. Like an idiot! Okay, sorry about that. But this one just really pisses me off. So anyways, if you somehow do get him down this mountain, as there are 2 sections you have to go through to get him out, you eventually meet up with Nana by the lake. So the job should be finished, right? I mean, we got the worst part out of the way, we got them reunited, so they can run off and go about their business, and oh shit, here comes Alba. Oh no. No. I just went through hell to get this idiot off the mountain. You are not taking him back. Nana decides to be a complete drama queen and threatens to kill herself before anyone takes Kurt from her again. Okay. And then they both make a mad dash to the Jaharda port. Choose to stall Alba and get ready to take your frustrations out on him. Alright, we finally get to kick this guy's ass in a real fight. Hopefully the wait for it has been worth it. These guys could actually give you a run for your money. To start things off, a good idea is to prevent the mage, this case being Ania, from ruining your party and helping hers. So start by casting silence and cut off their spells. Afterwards, try throwing out card field and boost up your defenses before finally letting them have some of your best attacks. As long as you keep the party healed often, you should do okay in this fight. So have fun!
ゆっくりお休み。研ぎ澄まされる。
At the docks, Nana is wanting to run far away from him and start a new life. However, he doesn't feel that running is the best way. Egan himself then shows up to try and set things right. Instead of Kurt continuing his training, now he is given the task of restoration around the temple. Though it seems like a punishment at first, at least both him and her do get to see through this together, so I guess it's for the best, since they are together again? Eh? Alba, on the other hand, is not satisfied with this and considers his job a complete bust before storming off. Oh, wah, wah, wah! Cry me a river, why don't you? This job is finally done, and thank God for that. That job should have been worth more for the trouble you gave me! Next time, we travel to yet another continent as our story continues. See you soon!